Hey, it's your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete here, and this is my series, Nails in the Coffin, where we learn that with great kills, there must also come great nails. Do me a favor before I get started, hit that like button, and most importantly, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my Nails in the Coffin videos that come out every Friday. You don't want to miss any nails. We arrived at Camp Crystal Lake last week when we covered the original Friday the 13th, which had an average of 1.7 nails in a coffin, courtesy of Jason's mama. Well, let's see how Jason does as we put some nails in a coffin for Friday the 13th, Part 2. There's that noise again. Our first kill happens at 11 minutes in, and it's final girl Alice from the first Friday the 13th. She's at home, and you can tell she's suffering from PTSD from what happened to her a year prior. She gets a phone call, and no one is there. And then you see her walking around the house really anxious because she heard a noise coming from the window. She grabs an ice pick to go check, and then we get a jump scare from her cat by the window. She's kind of relieved. She puts the ice pick down and kind of, tries to laugh it off. She then opens the fridge, only to see a decapitated head in the fridge. She screams in shock, and about before she has time really to do anything, Jason takes the ice pick and stabs it into her temple, killing her. Alice is going to be awarded 2 nails in a coffin. She was walking around the house really anxious because she heard a noise. Because, like I said, she's probably suffering from PTSD. When she saw it was just a cat, she tried to relax a little bit. As soon as she opens the door, she's horrified when she sees, a head in her fridge. And she screams, and she really didn't have any time to react once she screamed, because about 4 seconds later, after she opens the fridge, Jason kills her with an ice pick. I didn't see anything she did that was stupid. Yeah, you can argue, she didn't hear Jason get into her house, but that's just the way movies are sometimes. I didn't see anything she did that was stupid that would cause her really to lose any points. So I'm going to go right down the middle and give our first kill in Friday the 13th Part 2, 2 nails in a coffin. Our second kill is Crazy Ralph. We're back at Camp Crystal Lake, and Crazy Ralph is creeping on Ginny and Paul, watching them make out with each other standing outside one of the cabins. He's standing by a tree until Jason comes up from behind a tree and garrots him with the wire, killing him. He was a creepy old man, and I'm going to give him 2 nails in the coffin. He was peeping on Ginny and Paul and was surprised from behind. I didn't see anything stupid that he did, or I didn't see anything that he could have done to avoid being killed once Jason showed up. Basically, he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. You can argue if he wasn't creeping on them, maybe he wasn't killed, but he was outside the cabin, and I look at it as he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. So Crazy Ralph is getting 2 nails in the coffin. Deputy Winslow is next to die. He's driving his squad car and he sees Jason run across the road. He chases him through the woods until he comes upon a dilapidated shack in the middle of nowhere. While he's looking around the shack, Jason walks up from behind him and kills him by taking the claw end of a hammer and smashing a deputy directly in the head. The deputy is going to be awarded 1 nail in the coffin. I think he was a crappy deputy. He didn't even know really how to clear a room or secure it. He left his squad car in the middle of the road unlocked with the door open. I don't think he showed any wherewithal of his surroundings at any time. If he was suspicious, chasing somebody, maybe he should have been a little bit more careful, clearing the room or something to that effect. If he was just Mr. Winslow and not Deputy Winslow, I may have given him 2 nails in the coffin. But since he should have had some type of police training, and I didn't see any evidence of that at all, I'm only going to give Deputy Winslow 1 nail in the coffin. Jason's next victim is Scott. He was watching Terry go for a late night skinny dip. While she's in the lake, he steals her clothes. She gets out of the lake, sees Scott with her clothes, and he's teasing her. She starts chasing him, and Scott gets caught in a snare trap. He's swinging back and forth, but Terry helps him stop, and then he asks her to go get some help. She goes to find something to cut him down. While she's gone, Scott is just hanging around until Jason walks up from behind him, grabs his head, and slashes his throat with his machete. Jason's first kill via machete gets Scott 2 nails in a coffin. Did anybody else hear that? Anyways, He was goofing off with Terry and got caught in a snare trap. I didn't see him do anything stupid that really led to him being killed. He was just kind of having some fun. He thought the trap was actually a prank from one of the other camp counselors. And right by now, nobody knows Jason is out there killing people, so there was no sense of danger. So I didn't really see Scott do anything stupid other than just having some regular fun, but Scott did earn himself 2 nails in a coffin. Terry shows up shortly later to cut Scott down. Well, she finds him dead. She freaks out and goes run to get some help, but she runs into Jason and is killed off screen. So since she was killed off screen, we can't award her any nails. Mark is next up on the chopping block. He's in his wheelchair outside on a porch waiting for Vicky. It's storming outside, and he does look like something is off, like he senses something wrong, and just compliments to the actor. But out of nowhere, he gets a machete right to the face in a brutal kill from Jason. We then see him roll down a bunch of steps while still in his chair. And I do find it kind of weird because it looks like he was killed with the blunt end of the machete. I'm not too familiar with machetes. I'm normally figuring they got one sharp side and one blunt side, unless this version was sharp on both sides. But Mark was killed in a really brutal and mean-spirited way. Mark's brutal death earns him 2 nails in a coffin. Again, the victim was surprised with no time to react or defend themselves. Not much else to say on his kill. It's pretty consistent with the majority of the kills in this movie when the victim is surprised with no time to really react. So, just like the others, Mark gets himself 2 nails in a coffin. Jeff and Sandra are killed next, and they're killed at the exact same time. They just finished making friends with each other, and Jason just finished killing Mark. Jason walks into the room where Jeff and Sandra are. Jeff is laying on top of Sandra. As Jason walks up to the bed with the spear in his hand, Sandra sees this. Her eyes go wide, but before she has time to even scream or react, Jason takes the spear, stabs it through both of them, the bed, and the spear hits the floor. Just like most of the other kills in this movie, I have no choice but to give Jeff and Sandra 2 nails in a coffin. Jeff had no clue what hit him, and before Sandra can even scream, she was killed from Jason. Even if she did scream, there's nothing else she could have done to avoid her fate with Jeff. So I'm going to give each of them 2 nails in a coffin. Vicky is our last death in Friday the 13th Part 2. She's looking around the cabin and she can't find anybody. She goes upstairs to look for Jeff and Sandra. And I find it interesting that the camera lingers on this old man mask laying on the staircase for a second. Maybe in an alternate universe, this is the mask that Jason could have worn. So Vicky's looking around. She goes into Sandra's room and she thinks they're lying on the bed. She's walking up to the bed, Sandra, and as soon as she pulls back the sheet, it's Jason laying there. She's startled. She jumps back. Jason takes his knife and slashes her in the leg. She's freaking out. She's screaming and, she's, shrieks back into the corner of the room where she sees Jeff's body. Jason slowly approaches her with a knife in his hand and looks like he's got an owie on his thumb because you see a black fingernail. I always find that kind of weird and interesting. But Vicky's standing there screaming as Jason walks up to her with a knife and he stabs her to death, killing her. Our last nails are going to go to Vicky, and I'm going to give her 2 nails in a coffin. Maybe as soon as she saw Jason, she could have ran out of the room, but before she even had time to react, Jason slashed her thigh with this large knife. And she was in a really shocked terror when she sees this, and when she, shrieked back into the wall, she saw Jeff's body there, so she's probably in shock and just frozen with fear, while Jason walked up to her and killed her with his knife. Didn't see much chance for her really to do anything. She was surprised, just like a lot of the other kills in this movie, if not all of them. So, just like those, I'm going to go down the middle and give Vicky our final 2 nails in a coffin. The movie ends with a fight between final girl Amy and Jason. She's able to trick him using knowledge she has from her studies in psychology when she puts on Mrs. Voorhees' sweater and tries to trick Jason into thinking that she's his mama. This ruse almost works, but it doesn't, and Jason winds up fighting with Paul. And while Jason is fighting with Paul, Ginny is able to swing the machete down into his shoulder, where it becomes lodged in and he falls to the ground, presumably dead. Why do I keep hearing that? Anyways, there is a dream sequence at the end where Jason jumps through a window at Ginny, but it's just like the end of the first Friday the 13th. This did not happen, and the movie finally ends with the camera zoom in on the head of Mrs. Voorhees. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Those are all my Nails in a Coffin for Friday the 13th Part 2. Here's a summary. Alice, our first kill in the movie, had 2 nails in a coffin. Crazy Ralph, also 2 nails. Deputy Winslow, really poor police officer. I gave him 1 nail in the coffin. Scott, 2 nails. Mark also had 2 nails in a coffin. Jeff and Sandra killed at the exact same time. They each had 2 nails in a coffin. And Vicky, our final death in the movie, earned herself 2 nails in a coffin. Here's a look at the averages for the first 2 movies in this franchise. We see that Friday the 13th had an average of 1.7 nails in a coffin, and Friday the 13th Part 2 had an average of 1.9 nails in a coffin. Come back here next week when Crystal Lake goes into the 3rd dimension with Friday the 13th Part 3D. And we'll see how Jason, with his new look, and his victims fare with my nails in the coffin. Thanks again, and please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode during our stay at Camp Crystal Lake. Also, comment down below on what you thought. Do you agree or disagree with any of my nail ratings, and how do you think Part 3 is going to do? Also, I have my horror movie superlatives videos that come out every Friday. Those are a lot of fun. Please check those out. So I'll see you guys next Friday. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Stay safe. Stay happy. I am your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete. And remember, with great kills, there must also come great nails.